Hi world, it's about 8 p.m. in the evening on Saturday. I think it's the 18th of May, might be the 17th, 2019. It's full moon. It's full moon in Scorpio in a few hours time, in about 2.5 hours, 2 3/4 hours time, something like that. I'm taking a break from the Pluto aspects. I'll come back to it tomorrow or the next day or the next time I do a video. But it's full moon. Now, I'll come back to that statement in a minute. On the 14th of May 1948, at midnight in the evening, the British flag was supposed to be lowered over Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and the Palestinian flag and the Israeli flag were supposed to be raised, leading to the formation of Palestine and Israel as separate countries. However, earlier on that day, various countries, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, invaded Israel. As a result, there was an emergency session of the proto-Israeli cabinet, and at approximately 4 p.m. plus minus 5 minutes, I think it was David Ben-Gurion, banged his gavel on the table and said, "I proclaim the state of Israel." So Israel came into existence around about 4 p.m. on the afternoon of the 14th of May 1948. Palestine came into existence 8 hours later. The reason I'm saying this is because the full moon in about 2.5 hours time is at 27 degrees of Scorpio. The sun's at 27 degrees of Taurus. Mercury on this full moon tonight is at about 24-25 degrees of Taurus. Mercury is now going at its fastest speed. In the chart of Israel, the sun is at 21 degrees of Taurus and the midheaven is at 25 degrees of Cancer. The Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is trining tonight's sun and sextile the full moon, is opposite Israel's midheaven. Now, lots of information there. Let's try and put it together and make sense of it. Starting now, as I'm speaking, is the Eurovision Song Contest, which doesn't mean a lot to my friends in America, but to all countries in Europe and in Australia. For some reason they count as Europe in this song contest. There's a lot of people around the world coming together and performing songs in Israel tonight, now. Madonna's there or something like that. Now this is taking place on a Scorpio full moon, in a way that's very pertinent to Israel's chart. Now I'm not suggesting that anything's going to go down or go wrong here. Eurovision is very much a time of extravagance, joy, way over the top attitudes, clothes, dress sense and exuberance. It's normally fun. Many people just sit down with a bottle of wine and watch it. There is a kind of more serious message here. With the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, brewing up to oppose Israel's midheaven and moving into Israel's fourth house within the next 6 to 9 months, it is pretty clear to me that within a year from now, Israel is going to have really restructured and rebuilt its attitudes towards land, possessions, materials, property, assets and resources. I suspect there'll be a big land grab. Especially as it appears that Netanyahu is now going to be the premier of Israel for the foreseeable future, and he's been cast as a moderate against the people who stood against him, which in itself beggars belief, but nevertheless. And it does seem to me that this full moon now in Scorpio, the full moon in Scorpio is once a year around this time every year, but still a somewhat ominous, not ominous, but ominous portent. And make no mistake, this full moon is actually quite healthy. I mean, you've got a Venus-Uranus conjunction going on at the moment, sextiling Mars in early Cancer. You've got the Sun and Mercury opposite the Moon. You've got Saturn and Pluto together, but they're trining the Sun and sextiling the Moon. So it's not a difficult full moon, except that it is taking place in the very end of Scorpio, which is never an easy area. It's an area where there's no prisoners taken. It's not lightweight. It's quite a serious thing. So I think that the repercussions of tonight's event will linger for quite a time. And regardless of how it works out, I suspect that this is in many ways, this full moon will be seen as a kind of shot across the bows, if you like, as some type of sign of things to come. And that within a year from now, we're going to see pretty clear signs of Israel becoming ever more territorial. Unfortunately, it seems as if the whole Middle Eastern arena is just continuing in its long-term cauldron of warfare, all based, of course, on religion. Whose God has got a bigger appendage than other God, and my God's better than yours, and religion, it's the root of all evil. I truly believe it. Anyway, I'd love to say to you that this is the start of the dawn of some type of sanity in the Middle East. Can't see it. It's going to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately. But here we are, full moon. Full moon is Scorpio. And it's Eurovision. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next few hours, but I expect it will be spectacular. I suspect it will be very colourful. Hopefully it'll be a great deal of fun. And I know that Israel's trying to portray itself as in a modern way and opening it up to the outside world. But unless they're willing to address the true issues of Palestine and Gaza and find some type of accommodation with their neighbours, and it's two-way traffic, I'm not putting it all down on one side, absolutely not. But I can't see it happening. Nevertheless, it's Eurovision. It's full moon. Enjoy your glasses of wine, folks. Catch you later. Bye.